Welcome back to Casual Buzz Rugby. It's the start of the week. It's the start of the Rugby World Cup, and am I excited. And what a better way to start it than predicting the unpredictable. We are predicting what team the Boks will play, what team Jock Nienaber will put out to play Scotland in that first match. Of course, this is a massive game, probably our biggest game of the tournament to start off with, because everyone's predicting us to lose. They're saying Scotland will run all over us. Jock Nienaber will put out a team to try and stop this. Just a quick disclaimer, this is not the team that I want to see or that I necessarily will play or put out on the field. This is predicting what they will do. So without any further ado, let's get into it. As always, starting off with the front row, and I think we're going to go the same as we did against New Zealand. I'm starting off with Steven Kitshoff, Malcolm Marx, and Frans Malherbe in the front row. I think we'll take the dominant approach when it comes to physicality, keep the game tight, not let Scotland really run the ball. I think it'll be the same as we did against New Zealand. Try and literally just frustrate them dominant, keep it tight, keep the ball the whole time, no kicking the ball away and stuff like that. And I think the front three, that's perfect for it. When it comes to defense and attack, everything, just pure brute force with Kitshoff, Marx and Malherbe. Moving on to the locks, I've got Eben Etzebeth, obviously Eben Etzebeth and Erge Snyman. So there's one change that I've made from our game against New Zealand. I've got Eben Etzebeth, Erge Snyman. I think both of them are absolutely class. Eben Etzebeth, the best lock to ever do it, and then Erge Snyman, who's really put up his hand in that number 5 jersey. Very excited to see him. Of course, Franco Moster started, what was it, last week or the week before? But Erge Snyman, he's put up his hand. He's solidified that 5 jersey for me in the absence of Lore Jager. Erge Snyman has to go into that number 5 position. Doesn't mean Mostert is dropped. He's just dropped to the bench. Okay? So, we'll get to the bench at the end. Don't worry about it. I've got in the Lucies, Siya Kolisi, Pieter-Steph du Toit and Duane Vermeulen. I think the first 8 that I just mentioned, I think that's pretty secure. Those guys are going to start. I think the mind is set. And that's the team that I would go for. I've backed Jasper Wiese for a long time, but you can't deny that Duane Vermeulen is the man on form, and that's the guy that I'm backing. Siya Kolisi, Captain Marvelous, Captain South Africa, Captain Rugby. Absolutely brilliant. He's come back like he isn't injured at all. I'm not too sure how much game time he will get necessarily in that number 6 jersey, but very excited to see him back. Our game has lifted so much since he's come back. Of course, we are on good form, got a good winning streak going, but the game, how we are playing on the field, just is so much different since he's come back in those past 2 games against Wales and New Zealand. Yeah, you could say it's a rotated Wales team or whatever, but he's still got to beat the guys, and we played them off the field. So, Kolisi, the first name on the team sheet, very excited. Pieter-Steph du Toit, he's got his form back. The guy's been absolutely brilliant. It's performance on performance on performance on performance. Seeing that our power just went back on, I can put on this light, maybe it's a bit better. Performance on performance on performance. Every game that Pieter-Steph has played this far from the Rugby Championship, you could say he's put up a shout to be man of the match, which has been absolutely brilliant. Lovely to see. And then Duane Vermeulen, the experience that he brings, he's still so physical. It still feels like he's in his prime. He's back in his prime. He went into his prime in the 2019 World Cup, left his prime because he started getting old. People were saying he had to retire or whatever. And then he's just come back into his prime again. Perfectly good for the Rugby World Cup to end his career. He's got to have that number 8 jersey. I've backed Jasper Wiese for a long time. It's not that Jasper played bad or deserved to be dropped. It's just Vermeulen has deserved that 8 jersey. He's put it on lockdown, and I love it. And these are the guys that I actually would have gone with as well. Okay, so I'm predicting it, and I hope we are going for it as well. But in the back line, this is where we have a couple of, you could say, disagreements. That I disagree with Jock. Obviously, he knows a lot more than me. But starting off in that 9 jersey, in the back line, I think they're going for Faf de Klerk. Now, I don't have issues with Faf. I love Faf. But I would have gone with Reinach to start. I just think Faf does so much good things, but he always does something bad as well. What was it, like twice we had the ball on the 5 meter line and he knocked the ball in a strong attacking position and then he recovers and makes a good tackle, for instance, and then it's like you just forget about the mistake that he made. But I think those mistakes can't be made, and I just think the flow with the 10, which will be Mani, I'm predicting Mani, and I think they're going to go with Mani. It's just the system feels so much better with Reinach in the 9 and Mani in the 10. My personal opinion, but I think there's a lot of people that will agree with me on this one. But I think they're going with Faf. Faf doesn't play bad. Like, don't get me wrong. I just feel Reinach fits better. Okay. Anyway, moving on. As I said, Mani in the 10. He's the only 10 that we have at the moment. So, but he's been brilliant. People have been talking about his kicking and stuff, which is fair. It hasn't been the best. Of course, he went 5 for 5 in the previous game, which was absolutely brilliant. But I'm going with Mani. He's been absolutely brilliant when it comes to the ball in hand attack. He's just brought something totally different to us when it comes to attacking with the back line. So Mani, no-brainer. Gotta be in that number 10 jersey. Moving on to the centers, and this is where I'll have my second disagreement. They're going to go for Damian de Linde. I think it's pretty obvious that they're going with Damian de Linde, but I would have gone personally with Andre Esterhuizen. But they're going with Damian. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with Damian. I love Damian, everything that he brings to the table. But I think Andre Esterhuizen, it's almost the same with the Jasper Wiese thing. There's nothing that Damian really did wrong. It's just that Esterhuizen has done so much more. He's really lifted his game. He's really put up his hand to start. He's been performing every single game that he's gotten onto that field, put on the green and gold. So, yeah, but I'm thinking they're going with Damian de Linde. Keep that game tight. Bash that ball up forward. Run solidly into Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones or whoever they pick as the centres for Scotland. That's just what I'm thinking. And then moving on to the outside centre, Jesse Kriel, easy shout. Of course, Moody played brilliantly at outside centre against New Zealand, but Kriel has to be there, has to start. I'm backing Kriel to get that 13 jersey. He's made it his own since has been injured. Of course, I've said it a couple of times, but even if was fit, I would have still given it to Jesse Kriel. I just think his performances have been so impactful, whether it was from the bench or starting or whatever. It's just been brilliant. It feels like he's on that form where a guy just feels undroppable. So Jesse Kriel in that 13 jersey. Moving on to our back three, I've got Colby on the left in that number 11 jersey. I've got Kainan Moody in the 14 jersey, and I've got Willie Leroux to get back into that 15 jersey. Kainan Moody, undroppable. Colby, the best winger in the world. Still, I don't care. I'll back Colby till the end of time. Of course, he's very fragile, so he doesn't play 2 games in a row. But Colby has to be the 11 jersey, Moody in that 14 jersey. Of course, like most people would say, our best wings at the moment are Kurtley Arendse and Cheslin Colby. But I just predict that we're going with Moody, and I would play these two as well, because you can't have the 2 shorter wings, because then the high ball threat really comes in. Of course, both of them are very good in the air, when Colby and Kurtley Arendse. But I just sometimes the height thing it really makes you nervous. Okay, so even if they are good under the ball, I think Mark de Leeuw gave Arendse some issues under the high ball in that New Zealand game, just because of the height difference. So of course I like Arendse, or I love Arendse. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. He's almost on that undroppable form as well. But Moody has been insane since he has come into this team. So Moody on the 14, Colby in 11, and then Willie Leroux, the conductor, the Mr. Try assist all the way through. Willie Leroux at 15. Of course, he was dropped. Not dropped, he was removed from the bench in the game against New Zealand because he had a little niggle. But I'm pretty sure he'll be back for the Scotland game. Moving on to the bench. Of course, we know Vincent Koch is always on the bench. Doesn't matter what, he's always on the bench. But I think the performance of the guys that came from the bench was so significant against the All Blacks that they almost made it undroppable for this first game. So I'm going with Bongi Manami, Oxenche, and Trevor Nyakani. Just the dominance that they showed when the All Black subs came on. I mean, Trevor, Fletcher Newell, Tamaiti Williams, and who was the other? was it Samisoni Takiao? I think they got dominated in the scrum in that second half. So these guys could start for any other country in the world. They could even start for us. There's no loss. There's no drop off when you go from Kitshoff and Malherbe to Ox and Trevor Nyakane. So those are my bench three that I think Nienaber is going for. Moving on, I've got John Klein in the 19, Mostert in the 20, and Smith in the 21. So I'm going with the 6-2 split, not the 7-1. People have been making some crazy stuff on the internet because of that, abusing the bench. I mean, have you ever heard of such rubbish when other teams can do it as well? I mean, seriously. John Klein, absolutely brilliant. He will be the lock replacement, in my opinion. You got Franco Mostert, who I think will probably come on for Siya Kolisi, which means there's no Marco van Staden in the team, no Jasper Wiese in the team. But I mean, Franco Mostert and Kwagga Smith, both absolutely brilliant impact players. Of course, Kwagga Smith is a renowned, sevens player, so he could slot into the back line even if there's a wing injury or something like that. But I think it's going to be Franco Mostert coming on for Siya Kolisi, and then Kwagga Smith coming on for Dwayne Vermeulen. Of course, if there was something to happen in the lock positions, John Klein just comes on there. If there was another thing to happen to one of the locks, Franco Mostert just slots into lock. I mean, it's pretty simple, straightforward, impact of the bench, easy. Moving on, we got our backs, and we got Kobus Reinach and Damian Willems. I mean, there's nothing really you have to add to that. It's absolutely crazy. That is my official predictions. Of course, I said I would have had Kobus Reinach starting and then add Jaden Hendrikse or Grant Williams on the bench for their impact from the bench. But I mean, you can't really go wrong with Kobus Reinach there on the bench. And of course, Damian Willems is the best bench player to ever do it, because he slots in literally anywhere on the field. I've said for a while that I would have preferred him to start in the 15 jersey and then had Willie Leroux come from the bench, because I just think Willie brings so much more from the bench that later in the game he just reads it so much better. He gets more time because the guys are fatigued and tired bodies. But I mean, so be it. Damian Willems in that 23 jersey. Let me know what you think about it. Tell me what's your predicted lineup for our team. Not who you want to see. What's your prediction? What do you think Nienaber will go for? Have I missed something? Don't think so. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.